Hello and welcome to my presentation about the Wechsler Individual Achievement Test, also known as the WIAT-III. The author and date of publication it's been authored by Pearson in 2009. The publisher is Pearson. Their address is P.O. Box 599700, San Antonio, Texas 78259, and the website is www.pearsonassessments.com. The price, while it was kind of hard to figure out, was about $561 for the initial kit, and you can add other things on top of that afterwards. The three purposes for the WIAT are to determine eligibility for services, so this is to figure out if a child needs specially designed instruction and where the holes are. It identifies the academic strengths and weaknesses. It provides intervention at varying levels of intensity and for different purposes. So the subtests and appropriate grade level, there's 16 of these. The first one is the listening comprehension. It's in two parts. The receptive vocabulary measures listening vocabulary, while the oral discourse comprehension measures how well the student can make inferences about and remember details from oral sentences and discourse. On this one, it is they're given a picture and they have to, for the receptive vocabulary, they're given a picture and they must point to the one that represents the word they hear. And the oral discourse, they hear a sentence and passages and orally respond to comprehension questions. The next one is the early reader skills. This measures several areas deemed important for developing reading skills. For example, naming letters, letter sounds, correspondence, so alphabetic principle, phonological awareness, and word reading comprehension. On this one, the student will name letters of the alphabet, they'll ID and generate rhyming words. They'll identify words with the same beginning and ending sound, blend sounds, matches sounds with letters and letter blends, and inferential comprehension questions, and matches written words with pictures that illustrate their meaning. The next one is reading comprehension, which is untimed reading comprehension of various types of text, including fictional stories, informational text, advertisements, and how-to passages. So the student can read that out loud, or they can read it silently. After each passage, the student orally responds to literal and inferential comprehension questions read to him or her by the examiner. The math problem solving measures untimed math problem solving skills in the domains of basic concepts, everyday applications, geometry, and algebra. The student provides pointing and oral response. So they'll be asked a question, they'll either point to something or they'll say it out loud. Alphabet writing fluency measures the ability to write letters of the alphabet within a 30-second time limit. Students can write them in any order, cursive or print, and in upper or lower case. Found this very interesting to the amount of options that they're given. The oral reading fluency measures speed, accuracy, fluency, and porosity of contextualized oral reading. So the student reads a passage aloud and then orally responds to comprehension questions after each passage. Fluency is calculated as the average number of words read correctly per minute. A qualitative scale is completed by the examiner to assess the student's reading prosody. Comprehension questions are eventually asked as well. Sentence composition is the next one. This is in two parts. Sentence combining, so they'll be given two sentences to combine. It measures formulation skills and written syntactic maturity. And then the sentence building measures sentence formulation skills and syntactic ability. Word reading is next up, measures speed and accuracy of decontextualized word recognition. There's no time limit. The examiner records the student's progress after 30 seconds. The student will read aloud from a list of words that increase in difficulty. Essay composition measures spontaneous compositional writing skills within a 10-minute time limit. So a student will be given some paper and they'll write for 10 minutes. Pseudo word decoding. So they're given words that don't mean anything. They're just it measures the ability to decode nonsense words The student reads aloud from a list of pseudo-words that increase in difficulty. This list is read without a time limit. The examiner records the student's progress after 30 seconds and continues administration until the discontinue rule is met or the last one is administered. The numerical operations measures untimed written math calculation skills in the following domains. Basic skills, basic operations within integers, geometry, algebra, and calculus. This is a K-12. Spelling is next up. It measures written spelling of letter sounds in single words. The student hears each letter sound within the context of a word. Each word was written within the context of a sentence, and then the student writes the target sound or word. Oral expression. So expressive vocabulary measures speaking vocabulary and word retrieval ability. The student says the word that best corresponds to a given picture or definition. So if they're given a picture of a cow, they can say cow, or they can say another word that means cow. Oral word fluency measures efficiency of word retrieval, so how easy a child can produce words, and flexibility of thought processes. The student names as many things as possible belonging to a given category within 30 seconds. Sentence repetition measures oral syntactic knowledge and short-term memory. The student listens to sentences that increase in length and complexity and repeats each sentence verbatim. Math fluency addition. This is the key new addition. So there's addition, subtraction, and multiplication. They all are about the same. So addition measures the speed and accuracy of a student's math and addition. The subtraction obviously does the same in subtraction calculations, and then multiplication is actually of students' math multiplication calculations. So the normative study, the normative information was based off of a sample representative of the U.S. population of students in grades pre-K to 12. The U.S. Bureau of Census collected the population of students in October 2005. The split was along the following variables: grade, age, sex, race and ethnicity, parent education level, and geographic region. This test is appropriate for students 4 to 19, but they do have ones that go all the way up through adult. Reliability. This test gives out reliability scores for every subtest in each grade and age, and a composite of the scores for each grade. Total achievement reliability average were 0.98. This is how well they did across the board. The total achievement reliability for the smallest for pre-K and kindergarten at 0.95 and 0.96 respectively. Still really great. This means that they are way above the 0.9 that we have learned it should be at. Validity. The researchers used intercorrelation studies to show validity. The test used the composites ranged from 0.46 to 0.93. The strongest correlation were with reading composites and weaker with math fluency. Between individual subtests, the strongest correlations were between math problem solving and numerical operations, and word reading and pseudo word decoding, which makes a lot of sense. So numerical operations and math problem solving, and then also word reading and pseudo word decoding. So if you can read, you could probably decode words pretty well. One exceptional correlation came between word reading and spelling, which generally explained by the interrelated skills utilized across achievement domains. Overall, the correlations show that, for the most part, the WIAT-III measures similar to what the WIAT-II measured. The score types available. So there's the standard score by age with a target range of 40 to 160, mean of 100, standard deviation of 15. By grade, pre-K to 12th, with a target range of 40 to 160, mean of 100 and standard deviation of 15, and separate fall, winter, and spring norm tables. So for each of these, which I find really interesting and really helpful, is that they have where the kid should be in the fall, where they should be in the spring, and even in the winter. So it kind of gives you a breakup of the scores. The age or grade equivalent provides the age or grade at which the student's raw score is the median score of all scores. The percentile rank indicates the percentage of students of the same age or grade who scored the same or lower than the student. They range from 1 to 100, and the median is 50. Norm curve equivalent, a transformation of age and grade-based standard score information to an equal interval scale with a range of 1 to 99. the mean of 50, and the standard deviation of 21.06. The STAY9 is a transformation of age and grade-based standard score information to a 9-point scale. So the mean is 5 and the standard deviation is 2. The growth scale value, sample independent scores on an equal interval scale for the purpose of tracking growth over time. The average growth scale values of third graders are anchored at 500 points. The range of scores they have is below 55 is very low, 55 to 69 is low, 70 to 84 is below average, 85 to 115 is average. Remember that the mean is 100 and the standard deviation is 15. Above average is 116 to 130. Superior is 131 to 145, and above 145 is very superior. So the modifications and accommodations. There are no accommodations available for students, but the modifications are very helpful, especially in the setting that I'm in. A student can take the test over multiple sessions and days. They can take motor breaks in between subtests. They can take it in a preferential setting or at a preferred time of day or day of the week. So if they want to miss math class, they can miss math class. If they need to take a break in between, that's totally fine. They can have a snack. They can eat snacks or use fidgets. So if a kid needs something, they need a fidget spinner. They can use that while they're having testing. They don't have to go, cram through all of it in one day, which is really helpful. Once the subtest is started, it must be done exactly how it was written, and it must be finished without a break. So if you start a subtest, you have to finish it. There is no breaks. You can say after this you can take a break, but it needs to be done. Adaptation for English language learners. So they have exclusion criteria for the normative sample, and one of them is actually English is the student's primary language, or if they're receiving ELL, English Language Learner Services. So if English is not their primary language, or if they're getting English Language Learner Services, they are not part of the normative sample, so it's not an adaptation. So they can't be adapted for English language learners. Examiner qualification. Am I currently qualified to administer the test? I need to be trained professionally in either educational or psychological assessment to be able to interpret the results of this test. I believe that means that once I finish this assessment class and pass this class, it means it'll be available. How is it to administer? Looking through it, it looks pretty easy to administer. It seems very approachable. What's really nice is before the test in the reading, there's parts of it that say, oh, this is a way to do this, and these are the things you need to say if kids say certain things. And they have a huge, thick book full of all of the scoring with a lot of examples, a lot of things you can try. It really makes it easy if you're trying to score this test. It takes about 90 minutes to administer, and then the scoring probably takes another 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So it can take a while, but it seems very easy overall to score and to administer. So the test review is by a man named Thomas G. Burns. He, in his article, "What is the gold standard for measuring academic achievement?" The Wechsler Individual Achievement Test 3. In this review of the WIAT-III, author Thomas G. Burns points out that in this update of the WIAT, efforts were made to reduce ethnic and cultural bias. Pearson also shortened the discontinue rule from 5 to 4 in a row to lessen the administration time. Even with this, the test still takes 35 to 100 minutes to administer, which is a noted weakness of the test, but is not required that students take all 16 subtests. You can kind of pick and choose what you think would be best. When the assessor finishes scoring the test, it prints out to an easy-to-read chart that analyzes the strengths and weaknesses. It's really good for parents. I'm running low on time. So one of the greatest strengths pointed out by Burns is the addition of the math fluency subtests. It examines addition, subtraction, and multiplication separately. That really can help you figure out where the strengths and weaknesses for the student is. This is really helpful for the popularity of Mad Minutes and timed worksheets. Burns does not state that the test can take a while to score, but it was made more difficult for above average achieving high school and college students. That is my review, my project. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.